the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Don't label us left or right. American. Not looking for a war, but we came to fight. American. Somebody's gotta stand up. Somebody's gotta do what's right. We're rising 'cause we're fed up. Got our house in order and got yours inside. I am American. That's what I am. That's what I think and what I do. I am American. That's what I am. And I bleed red, white, and blue.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Super Dave Show. It is March 3rd, and it looks like it's actually going to be a pretty nice day. I'm so glad winter is almost over. Of course, as soon as I say that, it's not going to be over. So I don't know if that's a good idea. We're going to find out. Anyway, I'm going to talk to you and do a couple of the things here while I'm let me see here. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that a couple things are done here. So let's do this, and therefore other people can see this. Alrighty, there we go. That's one of them. And I think a couple more would be nice. Let me do a couple more here, and yeah, who's going to be my producer here? I got to know. I have to know who's going to be my producer. So anyway, let me do a couple other ones here, and I think we'll be done. Let me see. Let's do Republicans. As soon as it comes up, let me see. There's one. Let me do this real quick, and then we got the Real Republicans, and I think we'll be done here. So just thank you, Wendy, so much for allowing me to do this today. Let me do one more here, and we'll be ready to go. I got some pretty cool stories here, and some of them are embarrassing. It just is sad. By the way, you can watch this on the platforms while we're here. As soon as I find my other one here. Now let's go to this. All right, here's my other one here. And as soon as I get this, I think we're going to be pretty much done. Okay. All right, we're here and ready to go. So join with me. If you like to, if you got any, hey, by the way, the number is correct today. Every once in a while, at least there's, I don't know how to explain it, but I'll let it go. By the way, I wonder if it's going to let me do that. I just wonder. Let me go back to something here. And I do have a couple really cool stories here. Of course, there's 6 stories in a way, because you just wonder who the hell's doing what and where and all that stuff. It just is really spooky. But it just is amazing. All right, that one's working well. Let me go one more place here, and let me see. Okay, one more, and then we'll have her done. Then I can go ahead and do my show. So I gotta do some workarounds here to make sure the show gets out there the way we want, and we'll be happy. Oh, you must be wanting to run for office. I'm looking at one here. It says this here. Let me get out of this because I know it's pulling down my CPU here, which is interesting. Alrighty. Here we are. All right, it's March 3rd. It's beautiful, as I've said, and let me finish what we're doing here. There's a story here. Let me find it here, really. There's a story here out of Polk County. Now, this is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is scary stuff. This gentleman went out of his way. In fact, let Let me just read this. Many families are coming up with creative ways to make ends meet during this pandemic. But one man's plan highlights a growing community issue. Who is the true master of your land? This gentleman, Tim Leslie, Polk County, he bought some land, and he's going to live off of it after he lost his job due to the pandemic. So he's trying to survive, all right? He bought the land, but the county says he can't live there. Now, he lives there. I mean, he owns the land, but they say he can't live there. Now, his plan was he has an RV. He put the RV on his own land, and his plans are to build a house there. But the county says you can't do that. You have to go to an RV park. I'm serious. I can't believe what these people are doing. Well, you have to go to an RV park. You can't do that. Good morning there. And so his wife and his 2 kids, a 9-year-old and an 18-month-year-old, they're fine. I mean, the family's fine. They live in an RV. You know, it's probably nicer than a lot of houses. But they're forced to go live in an RV park. What the hell's the difference? It's their land. What country do I live in? This is Polk County. This is country. This is unbelievable. I'm reading this. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. The guy cleaned out his pension and his 401k, and he bought this land near Cedartown in Polk County. And he's thinking, hey, I at least have the land. I'll go ahead and build a house. He's living in an RV, and it's not even down by the river. Ha ha. But what is the problem here? I'm dead serious. What is the problem? This is America. But we have these things going on all the time now. This is what happens. We have government. There's no such thing as freedom in this country anymore. Anybody thinks there is doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. Freedom is something that you dream about. It's not true anymore. There's no such thing as freedom in our country. Because when you start thinking there's freedom, stories like this shows you that we don't really have freedom. How would you like that? How would you like that to where you buy your land and then you can't live there? Hey, Linda, you have an RV. What's the difference between parking your RV in an RV park or parking your RV on your land? And here's the key. If you're in an RV park, you got to pay to be there. You have to pay. This guy's trying to save money. He's trying to is anybody else okay with this? What has happened to our country? I'm just stunned that we allow this stuff to happen. I'm stunned by that. So it just, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. This is, they want to live, and you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me, well, you can say what you want. An RV park gets rent for the land if it's over 5 acres. Well, guess what? They are. Well, see, I'm the same way. I wouldn't ask. I'd just do it. Screw the government. But somebody, you always get some loser out there, some little Nazi that spends their life telling everybody else, well, you can't do that. There's always someone. And, of course, as I read, and I've been through code enforcement already. Let me see, where is it? There was part of it in here. Talk about, okay, Leslie says he checked the county codes before buying the land. He showed the reporter the section that allows for single-family dwellings in an agricultural district under which his property is designated. Under the county's definition of dwellings, it specifically includes manufactured homes, mobile homes, industrialized buildings, and recreational vehicles. It showed that we could have our animals here and be in our camper temporarily. So that's the reason we moved out. Of course, a reporter called Polk County administration, and then I returned a call. Like, we don't care about you. What are you, stupid? We couldn't care less what you think. It's Polk County Police Chief Kenny Dodd did email the reporter several codes that says prohibit Leslie's plan. One states temporary buildings and trailers should not be allowed in any district except when utilized for construction site contracting work. Another requires this. Good God! I'm telling you what, it's really pathetic to see this stuff. Because he's unable to stay overnight, he's losing animals to coyotes despite making daily hour-long trips from the RV park. Why don't we just handcuff the guy? Why don't we put him in jail? Maybe that'd make them all feel better. Carl, you can say what you want, but apparently the government disagrees with you. I don't know if that's still going to be the case. I'm a little scared being in Polk County. Can't blame him. Somebody ought to buy his land. He can move somewhere else. But then again, where can he move? And let me tell you something. I live in Jefferson County, and for all those who live here, I'll take an RV any day over some of these pathetic trailers that are here. And by the way, for you people in other areas, don't make fun because I can show you garbage housing in every county here. You want to start in St. Louis City? I can show you. I'd rather live in a trailer than a lot of houses in St. Louis City, wouldn't you? He's also working the Institute of Justice in bringing a civil suit. I was going to bring this one part in where I saw where you get the code enforcement officer. Who come up with that crap? I had code enforcement at my home, that the place I used to own in Christian County. I had my own problems with that. I really did. Someone complained about a sign we had outside, and the person lived there for 20 plus years before I had a sign out there. And we had a sign out there, and we didn't. You have to apply to do business at your home, and I wasn't even officially living there. My ex was at the time. I was living in St. Louis, trying to sell our house in St. Louis, but I had all my equipment in our big shop we had. We had like a 6,000 square foot building. It was big and beautiful. And some little moron from code enforcement was coming to our home and giving us giving my ex grief, and she was upset. And I don't blame her because we're getting letters saying we're going to take you to court and all that stuff. And I wasn't even personally even living there yet. My business was still in St. Louis. I hadn't started anything in Springfield area at the time. It was Christian County. So, it wasn't a big deal. But this guy was trying to force the issue. So they had a police officer show up. I happened to be there. And he gets out of his car. You ready for this? Gets out of his car. And I'm watching. I'm standing at the door, tugging on his gun. It's like, oh, good God, go away. And by the way, the house I bought was a beautiful house. It wasn't some little shack. It wasn't anything like that. So he comes walking up there. I said, can I help you? He says, yeah, I understand. You've been making threats to the code enforcement officer? I said, excuse me? I told him not to come to my house anymore. That's the only thing I told him. Well, he said you were driving around the Christian County building or something like that. And I said, I haven't been over there. And he was basically, instead of asking questions, he was telling me what I was doing. And I'm bringing this up to you just to show that these people lie. They'll do anything because they feel this good morning there. They feel this power. And so anyway, I took him back and I said, does this look like I'm open? And I showed my vehicle, and my vehicle was a little dirty. And he said, well, they saw your sign. I had a sign for my business. I didn't even have it on my vehicle. Hadn't been on there for a while. And I showed him, I said, do you see where a sign's been on there? And he looks and goes, no, I could tell it hasn't been there. I said, then do me a favor. Next time you go to someone's house, don't be making them guilty before you walk up there. And please, tugging your gun was not impressive. I'm an ex-cop. I was really offended by that. And he did apologize, and hopefully he learned from that. But, when you get people out there, they get this power, and it goes with a lot of people. But, I'm not, by the way, I didn't call the media. I didn't do anything. I just went ahead and did my thing. Now, this is a little bit different. Oh, the county manager, the police chief, and the county commission chair all refused citing a pending court case. Yeah, they always do that, don't they? They always say, well, we can't talk about this case because it's in the courts. They always do that. One way or another, they get out of it. So, there you go. Where is our freedom? We don't have any freedom anymore. We just don't. SR number 1 is, no, I don't. Once you let me know what it is, because I really don't know. By the way, the phone number is correct today, just so you know. Yeah, let me know what it is. I don't know what it is. We got so much going on in Missouri and the rest of it, and in fact, right now, I did like Dave Schatz is kind of a liberal senator. He's not one that I would really say was on our side, but he actually did something good yesterday. He filed a bill that would block executive orders by the president, any federal agency rule or any federal congressional action from being implemented in Missouri, if the General Assembly deems it to be unconstitutional. He's finally doing something right. Good for you, Dave. I'm glad to know you're doing something right. I have issues with him on other stuff, but that one I'm fine with it. I really am. But yeah, Dino, you're welcome to call and explain what it is, or you could just go ahead and tell me there. Either way, doesn't make a difference. It's up to you, my friend. By the way, I want to show you one other thing here. This is your America here. This is your America. You ready for this? This is your America that we have from a Biden administration. This is, I believe, in Memphis. I'll look it up again, but here you go. This is Black Lives Matter doing this stuff. This is basically F the police. This is what you get to look forward to with the Biden administration, by the way. In Louisville. I'm sorry, not Memphis, Louisville. They screamed at the BLM, screamed at the officers, no justice, no peace, F the police, and all that stuff. Just what I want. I want the thugs to well, they did. The thugs took over on January 20th. All right. Dino says, okay, he's asking me if I knew what that was. Today, the U.S. House of Representatives will vote on H.R. 1. A key provision of law is to forbid challenging constitutionality of the law. Oh, we just want to bark orders. We don't want it to be constitutional. We don't care about that. What's constitutional got to do with anything? That's how the left thinks. Yes, we couldn't care less what the Constitution says. No. In Missouri, yes, we have. You're right. We do have new laws that that BLM and Antifa cannot be blocking the streets and the highways. They can't be doing it. And by the way, speaking of BLM and Antifa, especially Antifa, you can always trust Christopher Wray, can't you? Wonder if this is on recording here. Christopher Wray. Now, there's already been video, actual video, showing certain members of Antifa at the Capitol riot, okay? They've already shown those. And Christopher Wray says, we didn't see him. Now, I don't know about you. I want the son of a bitch out of there. I want him out of there. You know, and this is the problem we have. I know that I would guarantee you that if President Trump could do things differently, he wouldn't take him. You know, you just never know. But here, let me see right here. Let me bring this up here.
You did not see Antifa or left-wing groups playing a significant role in the January 6th insurrection.
Certainly, while we're equal opportunity and looking for violent extremism of any ideology, we have not to date seen any evidence of anarchist violent extremists or people subscribing to Antifa in connection with the 6th. That doesn't mean we're not looking, and we'll continue to look, but at the moment we have not seen that.
That doesn't mean we're not looking. Guess again. Now, who believes for 1 second these guys are even looking? Of course they're not looking. They couldn't care less. Yes, black liberal militia. That's exactly what it is. You know, Ronnie, isn't it interesting? They are calling, the left is calling Proud Boys a terrorist group. But they don't want to call Antifa, which we know by far is a terrorist group, just like BLM. Now, I always go back to this. How in the world are we just okay with all this stuff? We must be, because we're sitting by silently. We're not doing much. We're not saying, we need to change something. We are not doing that. And that's the problem we have. We aren't doing it. We're just totally ignoring it. Totally ignoring it. And
anarchist.
Well, get rid of this first here. That's our problem. We just ignore this stuff, and because we're not doing anything, we really aren't. That's why I have a problem with so much of this stuff. BLM lives in a communist country where they rule communist country. Well, see, that's the whole point. In the last year's election, the presidential election, there's no doubt that communist China was a major part of this. Isn't it funny how we spent 4 years, and to be honest with you, Russia too, because look what happened. Look who did better. All right, we got a call coming here, hopefully. All right, you're on the Super Dave Show. Who do we got here?
You got your favorite person from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Dino, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thank you for taking my call.
By the way, Dino, we just got a bill from Pennsylvania, and all we did was take a trip. I hadn't been to Pittsburgh in a long time, and we took a trip and bypassed going to Washington D.C. first. We were I forgot, we were coming from Ohio and went that way. Got a bill going through those stupid toll roads anyway.
Well, listen, nothing in Pennsylvania is free, and we've got a communist governor that just basically is running roughshod right now over state legislature. And yeah, you go through the turnpike and they take your license, and then you probably got a bill for $9.40, right?
Actually, I think it was more, but I don't know for sure. And let me ask you a question though. Don't you have a Republican-dominated legislature though?
Yeah, we do. We do, but the majority of them, unfortunately,
are progressives.
Are what we defined as rhinos.
Bingo! That's the whole point. That's why you and I have talked before. And Dino, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is a friend of mine that I've met through all this from January 6th. And the one thing I will say is that we have the same problem. We have talked about this. We have too many damn R's in our legislature that really aren't ours. They're fakers. They're phonies. And it's our job as as conservatives to get their asses out and vote for real Republicans. So
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, you and I have spoken in the past. We align pretty much in our political aspirations, and you're exactly right. We've got a dominated House, a dominated Senate, and we had a bill that just passed. It's called Act 77, which is unfortunately for a lot of these Republican legislatures going to be their demise, because Act 77 basically gave paper ballots, the people to vote using paper ballots. And I'm very active with our legislature, and I scratch my head and wonder, like, why would you guys vote in favor of paper mail-in ballots? And I am not going to bore your listening audience with their reasoning behind it, but the bottom line was it was the GOP and the RNC. They got something for it, and the leadership of the Republican Party passed it down to the legislature and said, we need you guys to support this act. This is a great act. The trade-off you would never have made in a million years. I don't care what your educational level was.
Now, hold on 1 second, Dino. I want everybody to understand what he's saying here. By the way, the exact same thing happened here. Now, they didn't get away with as much, but you said, and this is why I try to teach this on this show, there was a trade-off. So always remember this. This is what politics is really all about, not the phony bullshit they try to feed you. Anyway, didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I want everybody to...
No, that's quite all right. Listen. I'm not sure that the Republican cares about, or the GOP or the RNC. I don't think they really care about winning anymore. They just want to make deals with the Democrats. They want to try to save face. They want to try to get people to, contribute money. I will tell you a little bit about Act 77. There was a lot of provisions in Act 77, right? And what they gave up was, if you go into a voting machine prior to this year, at least in Pennsylvania, you could pull a D lever and vote for every Democrat that was on the ballot, regardless of what they were running for, right? And you could also, if you so desired, you could pull an R and vote for all the Republicans. Well, our infinite wisdom of our leadership on the Republican side said, well, that's not a good thing. We need to make those Democrats read every one of those electorates and vote individually. So we're gonna trade off allowing people to mail in paper ballots in exchange for deleting the single line vote. Now, I struggle with that because I'm thinking to myself, who cares? That's just such a small little fraction of what we're trying to accomplish here. And you're giving up the right where people can mail in ballots. And they also gave them 3 more days to count those ballots. They had to be postmarked by the election day, 8 o'clock, I think it was. But they had 3 more days to count the ballots. So by definition, from my perspective, is what they did was after election day and they tallied up all the votes. If you remember, Trump was ahead by about 600,000 votes.
Yes.
By the time I woke up the next morning, he was down by 12,000. So it gave him 3 more days to mysteriously find ballots and upset Trump in Pennsylvania. Listen, this whole election was done in 5 or 6 states. All the battleground states are the ones that they knew that they could flip. They're the ones that they focused in on. So anyway, I'm going down a rabbit hole. I want to talk to you about a couple of things to your listening audience that they need to understand. Because right now, pieces of legislation are going through the House on committees like fast and furious. These guys, listen, they're not taking any prisoners, people. You got to get involved. You got to get off your damn cots. You got to get involved with good conservative groups in your area, or guess what? You're not going to like what's going to happen to you. House Resolution 127, if you've got any people on your listening audience that are NRA people that like to hunt, believe in our Second Amendment, this piece of legislation was introduced by Sheila Jackson Lee out of Texas, of all places. And the penalties for not registering your guns and your ammunition are as much as $150,000 and multiple years imprisonment. It's House Resolution 127. It's a federal bill that's working its way through. So my strong advice would be get on the damn phones, call your legislature, and tell them, again, this is a federal bill, so you're going to call your United States congressman and your United States senator and say, vote no. This is nothing more than a gun grab. This is all part of, let's take the guns away from them. It infuriates me when I see some of the crap that these people are doing. The next thing I want to talk to you about was it's House Resolution number 1. I did post something on your page about it. It's a 360-page bill that basically is going to just rip apart our Constitution. No more will we have legal elections. This thing is just a monster. It just guts everything. elections will be when, where, how, whatever they want. There'll be no checks and balances. And it basically just, if this thing goes through, the game's over. I mean, I hate to be so doom and gloom, but this is the kind of crap that these guys are concocting at night and just kind of pushing it through these committees. Now, the only chance we have is if the committee that they're pushing it through is dominated by Republicans, it never gets out of committee. It never sees the floor of the House or the Senate. Because the way these things happen is somebody introduces it, like Sheila Jackson Lee. She's on a particular committee, the Judiciary Committee. She brings up this House resolution, and then they debate it in the committee. If it never gets out of committee, it's a dead piece of legislation. If it gets out of committee, it goes to the floor of the House, and then they vote on it. And guess what? They have control of the House, so you know it's going to get pushed through. If it gets pushed through, then it's going to go to the Senate. Guess what? Because of Kamala Harris being the deciding vote, it's going to get pushed through the Senate. And you think Joey Biden's not going to sign the damn thing? If he can find his ink pen, he's going to sign it. And then guess what? You're going to sit here and you're going to think, boy, that guy that was on Super Dave show knew what the hell he was talking about. I wish I would have listened to him. Well, listen to me now, people. Listen to me now. Get off your ass and do something.
Yes.
So with that, I'll take a breath and answer any questions that I might be able to answer.
Okay. Well, the one thing everybody has to understand is that it doesn't matter, who your congressman is. You call them. I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. You call them. And just because they got R next to their name, as you and I both talked about, that means nothing anymore. There's very few R's that are someone you could depend on. I feel we have all. And by the way, you and I have talked about this too. If we work really hard, like you are with your group and I am with mine, if we work really hard within our state, we can get rid of the phony R's and get real R's and become a sovereign state like you should be, and do everything you can to get rid of, like you got a communist governor. I get that. Ours got an R next to his name. He's exactly what we're talking about. He's useless. In fact, one of my friends, a state representative, called me yesterday, and we had some words before because of stuff, and I said, whatever you do, let's get that piece of crap out of there. He's terrible. He started laughing. He goes, Dave, you don't hold back, do you? But this is my point. We have R's and D's, and they're both the same. Just that they play the game of okay, those damn Democrats are doing this, so you need to send me money. Because what they're doing, it's about the money. And people aren't paying attention to what their own legislators are doing.
Well, you know what? It pains me to say this, but it's our fault. We allowed this to happen.
Bingo! You sound like me. You're scary.
I have 3 children. All 3 of my children are as conservative as I am. In fact, my youngest one is in college right now, learning to be a high school history teacher because he wants to teach history the way it should be taught. I said, God bless you, my son, because you got a battle, but I will support you every step of the way. We are in a real bad state of affairs, and I try to explain to him. I said, this just didn't happen yesterday, folks. This goes back to the 60s and the Haight-Ashbury and the Bernadine Dorn and the Bill Ayers and blowing up federal buildings and taking over our educational system. And again, I go on one of these rants, but this is where we are, man. These people have been setting this up for decades.
Yes.
And now it is their friggin' utopia, and they want you to live your life like you would as if you lived in Venezuela, Cuba, China, communist Russia. They want total government power over every breath that you take. If that doesn't disgust you to the point of puking, I don't know what is. But listen, you and I talked about this as well. I'm on the tail end of my timeline here on planet Earth. Thank God if I get another 20 years, I've been more fortunate than I deserve.
Same here.
I don't care. I could pack up my shit and go to Florida tomorrow and live the rest of my life just fine off the beach.
Yep.
But I got kids, and I hope my kids have kids. And you know what? They deserve every bit of the freedoms that you and I grew up with. So if you don't care about yourself, look at the pictures of your grandkids. Look at the pictures of your kids when they were younger, and just imagine them having no freedoms, because that's where it's going. And the thing that frustrates me the most, family members, friends that are just liberals that look at me like I'm some kind of a conspiracy theorist, that I'm a whack job. I'm like, you guys just ain't watching what's going on, people. Let me just add a couple more things real quick, because
You're fine.
one of the things you and I talked about, it was like, okay, the biggest thing that my challenge is, we started 6 weeks ago, the WPA Freedom Group, WP Western Pennsylvania Freedom Group. 4 guys sat down, we had dinner, and we said, you know what, bullshit, we've had enough. We started a group, and over the last 6 weeks, the group has grown to over 1,000 people. The biggest question that I get on a daily basis, and I get bombarded with them, where do I go? How do I get involved? And that is the biggest struggle we have right now. Now, you've got your group that you've assembled. You've got your website. You're bringing people together, which, hey, God bless you, and thank you for doing it. There's groups all over the place. There's another one. It's called the Patriot Party Group. Right now, I think they're in about 20 states. I know they're in about 30 counties in Pennsylvania. The idea behind that group is to find good conservatives. No friggin' rhinos, no rubber stamps. These are people that have a backbone that are going to stand up on their own to represent their constituents and do the right thing to save our country. That's basically what we do. We look for those kind of people, and we support them like you can't believe. If everyone did their part, and I say this at every one of the meetings that I'm asked to go and speak, I said, listen, we sit here 150 strong. I said, I guarantee you, with every drop of blood in me, there are tens of thousands of people assembled in similar groups across this country. Don't ever give up. Don't ever give in. Fight like hell, because your life in this country depends on it.
Okay, I got a question to ask you and see if it's similar. What is your biggest frustration with all of this?
People won't get off their damn couch and act.
Bingo.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I had a meeting on Monday night, and it's to the point now where, you know, I'm asked to speak at a lot of different functions, and it's to the point now where I don't give a damn. I used to be, you know, kind of pillow soft with my delivery. And then I realized these people were just coming here, one, because they want to hear me speak, because sometimes I will make a joke and make the crowd laugh. But two, it just checks a box on their calendar.
Bingo!
Oh, Monday night, we're going to the meeting, and we'll have dinner, and we'll have a couple drinks. But when we leave that meeting,
we're done.
We're going to do nothing. We're not going to do nothing but come back to the meeting next Monday. Well, this past Monday, I just basically told them, I said, if you don't have a call to action when you leave here today, do me a favor. Don't come back next week. Don't come back, because this is an action-oriented group. And listen, I don't know how many people are listening to your broadcast right now. This is incredibly important, incredibly important. Do something. Call a legislature. Get involved. I don't know what it is. I mean, you can go onto our website, too. And, again, I'm not trying to steal any of your action.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
WPA Freedom. We launched our own website. We met with a web designer yesterday, and what we're trying to put together is a national website where people can go. It doesn't matter where you are in the country. We'll ask every group. They can log their group in, and they can post whatever kind of activities, whatever kind of meetings, whatever kind of call to action. We're trying to build a national platform in a real quick way, so the people that call me and say, where do I go? What do I do? We give them the website. They can go, because, again, if somebody's living in Wyoming, I can't help you. I can just basically tell you what we're doing, and hopefully you follow the recipe and you bake a cake, right? But, you know, it's so frustrating, because even Monday when my wife goes to all these meetings with me. She's a staunch conservative. She loves our country. She supports everything that we're doing. She writes letters. She makes calls. We do this as a family, right? And I'm sitting there at the red light. She said, what's the matter? I said, Debbie, I don't feel like I reached anybody tonight.
You got it. You got it.
She said, why are you so depressed? I said, Debbie, when I leave a meeting, and I want to run through a friggin' wall with excitement, right? I don't know that I'm reaching these people. And it's like, you know, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give in.
Do you know, you are so right, because, you know, I'll do my thing and I'll get in front of them. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's nice to hear. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. And they walk out the door, and it's like it never happened. Or if it happened, not everyone, but most of them. And to me, how can you call yourself a patriotic American when you sit on your ass and do nothing? Dino and I have gone back and forth with this and shared our frustration, and it is absolutely mirrored. It really is. And it hurts us, because I really do try to understand, you know, how anyone can call themselves a patriot and sit there and watch everything go on. They're watching our country go to the left. You know, how do you just sit back and just let it happen? I don't get it. I really don't get it.
I don't know that people understand what the word patriot means. I think it's just a cliche anymore. Patriot, freedom, all these words. That
Hey,
you
like
hear and see.
racist. Like racist.
Yeah.
That's a great way of putting it, because you got people. The right is tired of being called racist. Well, I'm tired of people calling themselves patriots if they really aren't patriots.
Listen, I am in total marvel. I mean, I grew up in the inner city. The majority of my friends and the majority of the people that I went to school with were of color, right? I don't know that I'm racist. I don't know that I'm not racist. I think everybody has a little bit of innate racism in them. I struggle to think that there's somebody that is walking around that hasn't looked at somebody of color and made comments, and I'm sure the black people look at white people. But that is as it is. Even black people are going to feel the negative impact of what's going to happen. The people in my neighborhood that were flying Biden signs in their front yard, right? People in my neighborhood that I used to call friends, that I would see at church on Sunday, that profess to be Catholics, are supporting a guy that supports partial birth abortion. So, I mean, people right now, their values are all screwed up. They don't understand what is going to happen. I'm a staunch conservative. I believe in the right to life. I'm a Christ follower, and I believe in this country more than I've ever believed in anything. And I'm going to fight like hell. Take off the gloves, man, because I'm coming at you. And that's just the way I roll. And I hope that 1/10 of my enthusiasm rubs off on 1/10 of your listening audience and the people that come to my meetings, because that's the only way we're going to get it done. Otherwise, you know what? Sit on your couch, put your remote control in your hand, grab a cup of tea, and just watch as this country implodes into a situation that you will never believe.
You're right, because when I sit back and I mean, honestly, I understand the depression, because ladies and gentlemen, if you feel like Dino, I do, you do get depressed because you're out there fighting so damn hard, and people look at you like you're crazy. Like, it's like, what is your problem? We'll get through it. I wonder how many of these people said that in Germany. I wonder how many of those people said that in Venezuela. And I wonder, I really do wonder. Now, if you ever talk to somebody that has lived through that, they feel like you and I do. They are like, what the hell are you people doing?
I hate to bring up, World War II in Germany, because it's such a scar on humanity, and it's such a bad time in the world. But I mean, if you don't understand and learn history, you're destined to repeat it. And one of the things that Adolf Hitler did when he became in power was he disarmed the populace, right? He figured that he can go into the Polish in Warsaw and basically throw Jews out of their house because they had no way of protecting themselves, right? That's what all of these gun grabs are all about. If they can take away our guns, take away our ability to defend ourselves. And understand, people, the Second Amendment has nothing to do with hunting deer. The Second Amendment has everything to do with protecting ourselves and our families against a tyrannical government. If the government comes and they want to take away your guns, what do you have if they want to come and throw you out of your house? And I know this kind of stuff sounds really far-fetched in the United States because it's never happened here. But it has happened around the world. And guess what? The people that were in charge back then around the world when it was happening, the same people are in charge right now of the United States. The same ideology, the same mentality. The George Soroses of the world lived during the Holocaust. If you don't know who George Soros is, Google him. Look at who he is, because he's one of the puppet masters that is controlling Joe Biden. This guy was probably the scum of the earth. He was a guy that you would go in after they would throw the Jews out of their house, and he would auction off all of their furniture and their art because he knew they weren't coming back. They were going to end up in a gas chamber somewhere. He's a Jew that turned on his own people and made billions of dollars by selling their merchandise out of their own homes. Sometimes they weren't even off the damn street, and he was selling their stuff.
And there's one other thing. There's one other thing here too, Dino, that people tend to forget, and this is why I've been really hard on people about. We have to take our schools back. Adolf Hitler, the first thing he wanted to do, he said the best way to start is to take over the schools, take over the kids,
right.
Teach the kids.
Right.
That's exactly what's going on. And then Republicans, you talk about Republicans giving up everything. They don't have a damn thing to do with school board members, anything like that. All they do is sit back and complain. And so I would tell anybody and everybody, like we're Republicans is supporting certain people, not only should you vote for them, I don't want to hear somebody just say, oh, I'll vote for him. That's the most I'll do. Get the hell away from me, because that means you are useless. Not only should you vote for him, but your friends, your relatives, everybody in those districts should vote for him. It's time you get off your asses and start doing something. The one reason I love being around Dino is because he and I agree so much, and we do get frustrated because we just want people to understand that it's there. Hey, I got a question to ask you. When you have some of these, don't you wish somebody would just get up and just say, this man is right. We all have to do it. Because sometimes, don't you feel like you're alone?
Yeah, I do. I mean, fortunately, there are times when I'm speaking to a group that they will actually applaud me. And it feels good
Yes.
because I get a feeling that I've at least struck a nerve. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I think most of the time people are sitting there in disbelief and awe, or they're saying, boy, this guy's a real whack job conspiracy theorist. I ain't coming back. Either way, I want to mention a couple things real quick because I don't know how much time you have here.
Go ahead. You're fine.
We have a congressman here in Pennsylvania. His name's Mike Kelly. He's a conservative. He's not in my district, but he's given me the opportunity to meet with him at different meetings. And, you know, he's very open with his comments. And one of the things that he said 2 weeks ago is he says, listen, don't worry about your congressman. You need to ignite your local populace. You need to take back your school boards. You need to take back all your mayors, your district attorneys. You need to take back everything local. The Republicans need to have a groundswell. We're taking over council, Murray, mayors, school boards, because you're right. Like on our school board, I mean, our kids are now still going to school one day a week and then over internet the other days a week, right? And you saw what happened in Texas last night. Governor Abbott got on whatever news media would take him and said, Texas is open. Everything else, throw it away. No more masks, no more restrictions in restaurants. Texas is open like nothing ever happened. Forget about the last year. He did that for one reason, I believe. The straw poll at CPAC, Governor Abbott didn't get one vote.
Right.
He's supposed to be this staunch conservative in the state of Texas, and he didn't get one vote in the straw poll.
I'm with you there. I'm trying to figure out why all these people say, oh, thank you, Governor Abbott. The first thing out of my mind was, what the hell took so long? Because we got a woman named Chrissy Noem who did better than him, and she just said leave it open. I mean, she's a superstar. She's one that stands up for what you and I believe, and we need more people like that. But there's, you know what? In your area, my area, there are many people out there that can help and do this and become the next leaders, become the next mayors or whatever, county executives, whatever it is, Congress, state, it doesn't make a difference. But you have to get off your butt, and you got to go, it's time for me to be a real patriot.
Exactly. Our Governor Wolf, I think, even people in your state or throughout your listening audience have heard of him. He manufactures windows and doors or whatever. He's a business guy, but he's a liberal. He's a Democrat liberal, and none of his policies since he's been in office has worked. Now, the good news is he terms out in 2022. Now, I get invited to a lot of Zoom meetings and other meetings, and I met a guy through one of our Zoom meetings. His name is Joe Gale. Joe Gale is a county commissioner in Montgomery County in Pennsylvania. Montgomery County in Pennsylvania is Philadelphia. You may have seen over the election cycle how corrupt Philadelphia was, where they were putting pizza boxes up against the windows so the poll counters couldn't see what was going on. It's just real corruption. I mean, and it's been that way for a long time. Joe Gale was elected to county commissioner in Montgomery County, which, again, for a Republican, you can't get elected as dog catcher because there's so many Democrats. Well, Joe found a way to get elected. And not only did he get elected once, he got elected a couple times. Now, Joe Gale, and the reason I bring him up is because he's traveling the state and he's having what's called Cup of Joe. He wants to go into people's homes in a very quaint, small, 12 people, 20 people in your living room, and he wants to have a discussion with you. Well, I had Joe Gale and his brother Sean, who happens to be running for the United States Senate to replace Pat Toomey, who's gone south. His name is Sean Gale. I was with them 2 weeks ago while they were having Cup of Joes in my area. These guys are the real deal. And the reason I bring this up is because this is the kind of stuff that we, the people, the true conservatives, we need to find these guys. Joe Gale is not taking any GOP or RNC money. He doesn't want it. He's not part of the establishment. He's having these cups of Joes because he knows when he tells his story and he ends with asking everybody to pray for him, he's a right-to-life guy. Look, is he bullshitting you? I guess every politician has a little level of BS in them. But this guy, I'm buying what he's selling. I think if he is elected, he is going to do the right thing for the people. And there are guys like that out there. We just need to find them, support them, and do everything we can.
You're right. In fact, I'm going to add this too, because I don't know if you have people, if your organization, you send money, and I tell our people, it's like, how in the world can you expect somebody who's not on the take to become the next governor, senator, whatever it is, if we don't support them with our time and money? And the one thing that you and I know for a fact that you and I don't care about the accolades. We just want our country to be the way it should be. There are many of them that act like us that aren't, and that's not us. I mean, I've learned you, and I know that you're a genuine guy, and I think you believe the same about me. But we are there, and by the way, these people that are running are going to come to you. They're going to come to me because they're going to say, these people have a lot of down-to-earth people that I want supporting me. They don't want a faker. They don't want a political whore. They want you and I and everyone else around them. But we have to support them with the election, with our money and time. And if you don't do that, then it's all lip service. We just can't go through this and just say, well, I'll vote for them and be done. You can't do that. That doesn't mean you're really with them.
Yeah, here's one of the things that we do in our house, and you let your conscience be your guide. You do whatever you think is right. If my wife and I go out on a Friday night and we have dinner and we have a bottle of wine, it's usually a $120 bill. Well, we don't go out to dinner every Friday night, and we take that $120 and we donate it towards somebody's campaign that we think is going to make a difference. I'm going to spend the money one way or another, right? You got to. I mean. People put $5 in an envelope and send it off to a candidate. They think, oh, whoop-de-doo. That's the same person that walks into church and puts $1 in the basket. Give me a break. I mean, like, your dollars and your cents and everything that you're hoarding ain't going to be worth doodly squat. When this whole thing, when the house of cards falls, you think all that money that you have is going to have some value. They're already talking about taking our currency and flipping it over to some type of a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, but they don't think the dollars are going to have any value when it's all said and done. This is the new world order utopia. One world order, one currency, controlled by government and a very few elite, and we turn from citizens to subjects overnight. On that note, I hope that something that I said struck a nerve, and people that are listening don't say, hey, there's some other wacko conspiracy theorist, because I've done my research. I've spent a lot of time. Since Barack Obama was elected in 2008, I became a Republican activist. I didn't support Barack Obama. I didn't vote for him, but damn it, I wanted him to do well, because him doing well meant the country did well. Boy, was I wrong. The man was a disaster. He could have been the best president in our lifetime.
And then you come up with a guy like Trump, who is exactly what we wanted. And the deep state, as you and I both know, the deep state doesn't want him there and have been fighting him for over 5 years. And
and they're going to continue to fight him. They're, not only the deep state, but the Democrats. And I want to say something about our president, because, he came to Pennsylvania because we were a big battleground state, as your people know. He came here a lot. I mean, he was in Butler County. There was 59,000 people. I was one of those whack jobs that were out there screaming and hooting and yelling. I mean, literally, he was so far away from me, I could barely see him, but I was there. And the thing that I'm going to tell you about President Trump, I'll say this about too many men. I love him. I love him for what he's done for our country. But I got some bad news for people. He's not the savior, and he's not going to come back on a white horse and save us. It ain't going to happen. That saving is going to come from us.
Bingo!
And it's if you listen to him, if you listen to his speech at CPAC, he was very clear. We're not going to have a third party, people. That was all fake news, and I agree with him. We shouldn't have a third party. We have a Republican Party. We just need to polish the turd, if you would, and
Yes.
bring the good people in and throw the bad people out.
Bingo.
It's going to be a groundswell. It's going to be us, the people, we the people that were red, white, and blue and love our country. Trump is going to do what Trump can do. But if people think, oh, well, we're going to sit around 2024 and Trump's going to run again, he's going to come back, he's going to save the country. You guys, listen, quit smoking dope, because that ain't going to happen. We are the ones that are going to make this thing work, or we're the ones that are going to sit back and do nothing and just watch it all implode in front of us. And with that, I yield back.
Okay. All right. Hey, my friend, thank you much for calling in. Always enjoy it, really do. And it's interesting. We're like duplicates here because we want the same thing. And the one thing you said that I totally agree with is people just say, "Well, I wish he'd get back and do this and do that." Stop looking for someone else to do something you can do yourself. I grew up with
Amen.
that, and for that, I appreciate you coming on, my friend.
All right. Have a great day, man. Keep doing what you do.
Okay. All right. Thanks, bud. All right. And my friends, I got to tell you something. That's exactly what I've been saying for a long time. And the people that listen to the show all the time, they know that's what I am about. I look for it. I play hardball. And I know I play hardball, but just like he said, I'll be, we'll be at a meeting or something like that. And I'll be in front of a group, and some people are like, well, whatever. That sounds really good. Yeah, so why don't you do that? And stop. And I keep telling people, stop looking at President Trump as the only one that could do anything. There's 75 million of us. 75 million of us. And we are responsible for our own behavior. And if we don't do anything with it, shame on us. We got all these people. We got all these Congress people. Do our job. Right now, there's not much we can do until we get someone. Right now, we're stuck with these people, and we have to do two things. We have to be on them all the time. Let them know that we're their biggest pain they have, and they better start doing what they say. And just and threaten them with your vote. And say, if you're not going to do this, we're not going to vote for you. Now, in the back of your mind, you could probably say, I'm not going to vote for you anyway. But you know what? Guess what? If nobody else stands up, which is another problem we have, if nobody else stands up, then nothing changes. Nothing changes. And that's the whole point. So, we've got to do something. And I applaud my friend Dino. What's really interesting? He was there on January 6th also. There were 1 million people there. I didn't see them. There were people I was supposed to meet there. I think you were there, weren't you, Elizabeth, and some other people? I think Penny and Chris, a bunch of people that were going to be there. And we walked around and looked and couldn't find them. And by the way, Elizabeth, I saw something you had, and I couldn't find it. But it had something to do with science. And the science, and I got a couple of things I want to talk about before I take a break. The science, though, was so interesting because on the science part that you had, what I found funny was that it's really weird when you get a black person, when you have an Indian, and I forgot the nationality of the other one. When you got Indian, that's it. Now I'm gonna take a quick break here, not for. I just want to show you a little bit of Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem is the real deal. Kristi Noem doesn't give a damn about anything except doing what is the right thing to do for conservatives. That's what she's done. That's what she's done in her state. They're over there talking about Abbott. Abbott should have done something a long time ago. I keep hearing how tough Texas is. But I see this stuff, and there's a lot of stupidity going on in Texas. So for me, I don't get it. But I want to just show a little bit of this real quick. This is Kristi Noem. I'll let her tell you here. She's got more guts than 99% of the men.
Good afternoon. You all look wonderful. Well, it is such an honor to be with all of you here today. My guess, thank you. Now listen. My guess is that a year ago, most of you had no idea who I was. But unlike the DC media, I'm sure that you all at least know that there are 2 Dakotas, and that I'm the governor of the warmer one. Now, I'm here today to share some of the lessons from my state. I think the main question that needs to be answered this weekend is, why does America need conservatives? Now, the question of why America needs conservatives can be answered by just mentioning one single year, and that year is 2020. Now, everybody knows that almost overnight, we went from a roaring economy to a tragic nationwide shutdown. By the beginning of 2020, President Trump had created 7 million new American jobs. We had the lowest unemployment rate in over half a century, and unemployment rates for Black, Hispanic, and Asian Americans reached the lowest levels in history. More than 10 million people had been lifted out of poverty and out of welfare, and all of that changed in March. Now, most governors shut down their states. What followed was record unemployment, businesses closed, most schools were shuttered, and communities suffered. And the U.S. economy came to an immediate halt. Now, let me be clear. COVID didn't crush the economy. Government crushed the economy. And then, just as quickly, government turned around and held itself out as the savior. And frankly, the Treasury Department can't print money fast enough to keep up with Congress's wish list. But not everyone has followed this path. For those of you who don't know, South Dakota is the only state in America that never ordered a single business or church to close.
And I'm going to stop right there and let you guys watch the rest of that. But I want you to understand what she said right there is exactly what conservatives should be doing. It should never be, well, I'm in charge. This goes with the jackass we have in charge. Anybody that agrees with him, this is why every representative, I don't care. It's none of government's business to tell someone they have to shut down. Yes, she is awesome. I mean, really, if I were to vote for president today and it wasn't Trump, it would be this person. It would not be. You know, we hear about DeSantis, which that's better. You know than what's going on. A lot of them, but this is the person I'd vote for. And Republicans don't really stop and think about these things. Who agrees with me here? I think she understands what government is and what government can do, and that, yeah, it does. One state. She's the only one that said no. And guess what? Their numbers were no different than anybody else's. None. Look at all the businesses that have gone down. It's tragic when I see what we have allowed to happen in our country. We have allowed government to get involved. You're right. We need to be on Parson every single day. We have allowed this. You know, when they come out there as the heroes, what world do we live in for any conservative? I can see a liberal wanting this. The conservatives are really, what has government done to help us? Nothing. And I get that. I like Pompeo too. But the one thing I will say, Charlie, is she has done it by her actions. She, you know, okay. When I want to elect somebody, and this is where we all need to be on the same page, I don't want to elect somebody by what they say. You people know that about me. I don't want to do that. I want it to be strictly by what they do. That's why we elected Trump. Now, I think that, you know, to be fair all the way around, I think there's so much garbage in D.C. And look, Trump was brilliant in many ways. He still said, I'm going to get this other stuff done. I still got to work with these people. I got to get some stuff done. Otherwise, I can't. But this woman here. Wait a minute, that can't be right because I'm a conservative. I'm a sexist. I'm a racist. I'm all that stuff. Now, anybody who knows me knows quite the opposite. But what gets me is that if you notice that we're all called racist, unless you're a black person who likes Trump, and then you're called an Uncle Tom. And they don't even know what Uncle Tom means. You know what? It's really interesting. Yeah, because you were telling me that your family has a baby shower or something like that coming up, and Linda said, and they were in there saying, well, according to CDC guy, what the hell we listen to the damn government for? The government has really done me very little good. And why? Here's the one thing I've said over and over and over for years: is why in the world is it the same government? The same politicians that you say are nothing but a bunch of liars. Everyone said that. Everyone has said that. Some of us meant it. And I always say most of them are liars. I don't say all. I don't like inclusives. They're not all bad. There are some good ones in there, but they're few and far between. And people that say that, I've had people, that oh no, they're all bad. They don't know what the hell they're talking about, because this is a great one right here. And I could go on and on. There are more than we know, but there's not enough. And why? Because we have elected them. The same people that we don't trust and we say they're nothing but a bunch of liars. This is what I can't understand. We don't trust the congressmen, the senators, and all that stuff that we have, but we re-elect them. The very people we call liars. Why do you think I get out there and tell people these things? They go, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I, for many times, have said that voters prefer liars over truth tellers. And man, I get savage. Oh, no, not me. Bullshit. I'm going to go out bullshit on it, because most voters prefer liars. They do. We had this last governor's election. You preferred a liar. You preferred a non-doer. That's what you did. Well, I didn't know of anybody. You didn't look. Okay, Kamala Harris, science has come a long way. When you actually have an African American and they actually have an Indian and Jamaican parents, all of a sudden you become black. And does the media say anything about this? No. Not a damn thing. Not a thing. She's not even black. But she's black. It's really scary. It really is. But when you got a woman like this, I want people to appreciate a real, true, capitalist conservative. That's what I want. She wasn't there. She said, she had confidence in the people. This is the problem. This is what conservatives do. They put too much into someone. Trump. Oh, my God, he's great. And they have parades for him, the rest of it. But when the parade is over, they go sit on the couch, they grab the remote, and this is what they do. Hey, we're having this going on tonight. Well, you know what? There's really a good show on tonight, which is no excuse anyway. I like good shows too, but guess what I do? I record them. Well, I don't have one. Then get one! But when it's time to be out there doing something, get out there and do it. Just don't sit there and expect somebody else to do it. We have a lot of smart people out there, and they're all sitting by waiting for the left to take over. By the way, she made a comment. Governor Noem made a comment about the 7 million jobs. There's two reasons why those jobs, actually I think it was more, but let's just say 7 million. Guess where a lot of those jobs came from? A lot of it was because the economy was better, no doubt about it. But a lot of them came from China. And you go, what? Yes, the previous administrations, the Obama, the Bush, Clinton, Bush administrations, they were sending our jobs over to China, India, Mexico. Nothing better than getting a phone call from or calling somebody and it's an Indian. How often do we have that? Yeah, it's an Indian. Yeah, they're going to help us with something. You can't understand what they're saying. I get on there sometimes and I go, excuse me? Do you have anybody that speaks English? You got, you know, and I even go as far as say, you know, I commend you because you know 2 languages. You just don't speak English for a while. And I don't, you know, I'm not being negative towards you. I'm negative towards the company for allowing this to happen. But I don't get mad at the caller. It's not their fault. They're just working, trying to do their job. But these companies, these corporations that are screwing us royally in every way there is. And here's one for you. The corporations should be so thankful. Actually, let me rephrase this. The American people should be so thankful that we had a corporate tax cut. Now, for those of you out there that don't understand business, which is 90% of you people out there, corporations do not pay taxes. Corporations collect taxes. So when they have the price of a product that costs them $5 to make, they figure out the tax on that they have to pay the government is 87 cents or whatever it is. And they add that to the price of the product, and you get to pay it. Do you know how many stupid people don't get, we got to charge those corporations more taxes. We just have to do it because that's just wrong. Well, you know, and Linda, I understand. I mean, I've done that. I was like, look, but I'm not mean to them. I'm really not. There are some people I'm not too happy with it that I talk to, but a lot of them, it's like not their fault. But you know whose fault it is? You know what part of the problem is really? Conservatives are looking. Who do I blame? What you do, if you don't know who to blame for all this, everyone's got a bathroom mirror. Go in the bathroom, look in the mirror, and that's the person to blame. Because 95% of the people out there, that's the person to blame. They don't do a damn thing. You know, I measure myself every day when I look at that mirror and I go, did you do enough today? That's why I get depressed. You know, some people say, oh, thank you for all you do. And you've heard me say this a million times. No thanks for what you don't do. And the few people I know that really are involved understand 100% what I'm saying. And the other people think I'm mean as hell. They'd rather go listen to a superstar, you know, somebody else. They really would. And for me, it's so frustrating. It really is. I just wish so much. You know, I got to tell you something. I want to look at something real quick here. I was kind of really bothered yesterday because I found someone who I thought was a friend, and I'm not going to go into much of it, but I thought was a friend, and all of a sudden they went back to the salesman. They went back to the salesman, and I'm talking about radio. I want to be important, so you watch me, and that's it. I don't care if I'm important. I couldn't care less. And if you're looking for somebody to be, hey, Mr. Cool, you know, whatever, you know, then I'm not your guy. I'm not your guy. I'm the guy that slaps you down and says, hey, let's do it. And you know who gets maddest? You know who really gets maddest at me the most? The ones that get the maddest are the ones that aren't doing anything. They really are. Because when I look at, you know, and I go look at other people's deals. I go look at them. But you know the one thing I do find all the time? Hardly any of them ever do a thing. They want somebody else to do it. They want a hero. They want somebody there, and they want that person to go ahead and say all kinds of neat things, and that's it. And I will never claim to be that way. I just won't do it. And some of you people know what I'm talking about. But that's not who I am. And I don't want to be that person. I really don't, because there's a lot of talk show hosts out there. And the one thing that, you know, I'm going to go back to President Trump's speech the other day. Millions of people watch the speech. if those millions of people that found it so important to take that time to watch that speech, and this is why I go a few steps farther. If they were to get off their asses and help here, we could get this country back pretty damn quickly. We really could. But, yesterday I made a comment, or day before I made a comment, that we have people running for school board here. Now, a lot of people think, it's no big deal. No big deal. They'll make it, whatever. I'll vote for them. We're buying signs for these people. We're paying for it. They have, and this is what I'm telling people, they're taking their time. They're going to be going to the meetings. They're going to be doing this stuff. It takes time and effort. And it's our job to support these people. And not just with your vote. But that's where we are right now. It's with the vote. And if that's really where we are never going to get anywhere. We just aren't. Because these people don't deserve to go, to have their bank accounts. It's not going to cost that much, but you know what? If there's $10, $20 from everybody out there, then they can concentrate on what they're doing instead of looking for the money. I don't know. I just, for me, it's just one of those things. I just hope and pray that we change. I will hope that every day. So for right now, I'm going to go ahead and take a break. We're going to do our just regular one, the one that Ronnie and I like so much. Most of us like this, and of course I like it. So let me find it here. We're going to do this because I need to take a break. How's that? So, all right, we're going to go ahead and take a break here. Let me set everything up as usual, and let it. Got to get through the commercials first when I do this. But just sit back, watch Lee Gravewood.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again. Just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, the men who died, who gave that right.
righty, there we go. I got to turn my microphone on. Okay, that's I can't. You know what? It's almost every day I can't go without that. And as I tell, yeah, goosebumps for me too. Me too. Hey, Donnie, you found us. Hey, way to go, way to go. Yeah, you know what, Ronnie? Me too. You know, there are so few people. I'm dead serious, and I always call this a measurement. Would you agree with me, Ronnie? And some of you people out there, not everybody. There's a lot of people like that. If you can't really feel the inside, you're not a patriot. You really aren't. You may think you might. You know, a lot of people like to say they are. But I just, you know, I really wonder. I really do. A patriot does what they can for the country, and it's not lip service. And I think what bothers me the most are people that call themselves patriots, and they aren't. I call them fake patriots. Phonies. There you go. They're phonies. Hey, I'm a Republican. I don't do a damn thing, but but I care. Well, guess what? Yeah, I'm Facebook jail guy. That's right. Yeah, Facebook loves me. By the way, if any of you don't know this, I want to tell you a little secret here. And I try to do it every single day now. And I didn't do it that day. But every day, once, twice a day, go into your Facebook. And you go, there's like the, if it depends which one you're going on. If you're going on the phone, I think it's 3 lines on the right. And if it's if it's your Facebook, it's that arrow that goes down. But I'll go step by step. You hit that arrow. Listen to me. You go to settings and privacy. And then, actually, if you have a phone, it's best doing on your phone. Then you go to settings. And after you do settings, you go down and look for blocking. And when you look at blocking, you'll see people you may have blocked. And if you've never been there before, you need to go there anyway. But where it says block users, type in fact, FACT, space, C. Now, there's all kinds of names in there, but almost all of them say fact checker, or other things. I don't take any chances anymore. I delete every single one of them. You know, Ronnie, yesterday we played taps. And if that's another one. If you don't understand, it's even hard for me to talk about. Yes, Sidus, yes. If you don't understand that. Oh, by the way, let me finish what I was saying before. If you type that in, and it'll come up the list of them, just say block and block and block and block until they're all gone. And do this once or twice a day. I know it's a pain, but then they won't, they really won't see you as much. That's the point. Now, they do follow me a lot, and I should have done better that day, and that's my fault. So I'm halfway in between. It was 2 weeks ago today when I was put in Facebook jail. Yes. You know what? And I get a kick out of these people that say, the independent fact checkers, you're all liberal Democrats. There's no such thing as an independent fact checker that's a liberal Democrat, because they sure as hell don't do a damn thing on the on the liberal side. Nothing. They can call you everything under the sun, and they basically just say, "Oh well, they're on our side." So anyway, if it doesn't turn in, you're right. You're right. And I'm not trying to be rude here. You know what's going on here, Ronnie, and I mean this. And this is why I'm telling people, I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but if it works, good. But the point is that if you don't really feel the things I feel, I mean, if you're just one of these people who say, "Oh, thank you for your service," I said it. To me, that's like a prayer that you really don't do anything. You just say, "Hey, I prayed." No. If you say thank you for your service, you don't feel it. When I don't really say that very often. I really don't. Because I think anybody that knows me, And besides that, I don't know who they are. I mean, I think Ronnie will agree. Just because they were in the service doesn't mean they did anything great. Really. I mean, they put their and not everybody. And am I right, Ronnie? Not everybody got. Now it was different during the Vietnam War and stuff like that. But not everybody gets in the service because they're there to defend our country. We found that out in, was it the Clinton years? When or some of those in the Bush years, when some of the people joined during the Clinton years, because they said, yeah, if you join, you will get a college education. So people say, hey, I'll join. What the hell? And they get there, and all of a sudden the country says, okay, we need to send you here. And they go, oh, wait a minute, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do this. I didn't know that was part of the job. Well, yes, your country, your leadership has said you need to go and spend, 9 months in Iraq or something like that. Well, that wasn't part of the deal. I was just here to get the education. Those are people I'm not thanking for the service because they didn't do it. I don't, I guess one of my biggest issues I have is I'm so damn hard. I'm so damn hard on conservatives, the fake conservatives. That's what I am. And you know what, Elizabeth, I knew you did, because there are certain people out there that they wake up and they really, you feel it. I mean, if you do, and this is my test, everybody. If you can watch that that video I just had with Lee Greenwood, and just say, oh, that was nice. If that's all you could do, I question your patriotism. I really do. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's my problem. The one with showing all the soldiers. That's the one that really gets me the most, and yours too. But, Ronnie, he's veteran there. You see veteran there. Ronnie served his country, and then he went and he served his country even more by being an ROTC teacher. That's what he did. Yeah, that's just it. You join the service and you get a vet, and then they get free. And believe me, there are people out there. Am I right, Ryan? There are people out there that join, and they're not the majority. Most of the people that join, the majority, are there because they want to serve their country. So let me make that perfectly clear. Yes. No, my name is not Richard Nixon. No, most of them do it for that reason. But especially during the Clinton years, I remember that so well, people were joining the service because they were getting free stuff. But they had to do something. Now they don't have to do it anymore. All they have to do is just tell their legislator, and the legislators, well, let me see here. We'll go ahead and take it from Donnie and Ronnie and Elizabeth and Charlie and all the rest of you. We'll take that from them, and we'll give it to you. That's what they do today. People elect. This is where we get in trouble. We elect people. Well, not us. We elect fools. I give the left more credit than the right on a lot of this. I really do. On the left, they don't mind if government tells them what to do. So, since they don't mind, they vote for those people because they believe in big government. Now, a lot of conservatives say, well, I don't believe in big government. You vote like it. Think about it. You do. You vote. You do. And it goes back to what I said. We're trying to get people in school board. And I know a lot of people say, that's not a big deal. My God, have you seen the schools lately? It would only take 2 or 3 cycles. In our county, there's school board elections every year for 2 or 3 people every year. I think there's 7 people on the Fox School Board, and most school boards. And if you got 2 one year and 3 the next year, you took over the school board. You're done as far as that goes. Then you have to concentrate on trying to make the schools better. That's the problem. But we I don't know. I that's where I have issues because we don't plan. We don't do that. And no offense to you, my friend Carl, you could have 50,000 rounds, and you may have fun shooting them, but your military can take you out in seconds. If they know you're like that and they go up there and you start shooting, they could take you out in no time. And you know it. You know it. And this is my point. If there's 50,000 people that do this and that's a little bit different. They can still take them out, but it's a little bit different because they're like, wait a minute, we can't do that. Look, didn't they do that at Ruby Ridge? Look what they did in Waco. They lied. Our government lied to us about what was going on in Waco so they could justify their unconstitutional actions. I will never, ever forget that. And if anyone does, just like the rest of the stuff they've done. Remember what happened, I can't think of the country, where they were calling Obama, somebody remind me here. So they were calling Obama, say we need help, and they were taken over, and they were dragged through the streets, and that's when Hillary said, hey, we didn't do anything wrong. There's something to be said for a person enlisted in the military and their desire to serve. That being said, there is a difference between veterans. There are many different classes of veterans. That's why we have the American Legion and the VFW. You're right. No, I wasn't talking about Ruby Ridge. Ruby Ridge is one of them. I did talk about it. No, I'm talking about overseas. Oh, come on. I lost you there, and those were Republicans and office. And by the way, I loved Adino has become a friend, and I've never met the guy. It's really interesting because I have a lot of really good friends that we do agree with this stuff, and we're doing what we can. And actually, we do make the connections. I got my show, they got their, and that's what we're trying to do. And we have our group here, and that's why somebody asked me yesterday. By the way, there's some nutcases on our side too. We know that. I met one. He mentioned. He goes. Well, I wouldn't mind running for office. And next thing you know, he says, "Oh, they're all bad, and we need to replace every one of them." Well, that's not true. You replace the bad ones. I would not replace Rand Paul. I would not. Ted Cruz has his moments, and he's compared to most of them, he's better. In our state, we have Jason Smith. He's not super vocal, but at least he's there. How far are you from Columbia? About 100 miles, 110 miles, something like that. I go everywhere. That doesn't make a difference. If somebody sets a meeting up, I want you to know, if you are listening to this show and you have a group and you want me to come and speak, and you're within a 150-mile radius, I would even go Kansas City. Which is more. It's like 240, I think, something like that. I'll get there about an hour the way I drive. But if you are somewhere and you want me to come and speak, I'll be glad to come and speak. I don't expect anything. I love my country. I'm a patriot. I'm going to do what it takes. And it's one of those things that we will do. Oh yeah. So if you know of a veteran, I'd even come. If you get a group together. In fact, I can actually help you get a group. Ronnie, if you get a group together and you got something going on, I'd be glad to go down to Springfield and Branson and whatever, to talk to people. Well, I got to say something about Waco, and some of you have heard this story. My mentor in life was a man that I called Dad Stuckey, and he actually was one of the beginning members of the ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. And when he was there, he started it, and they had pride. The man was class beyond anyone I ever knew. Helped me to where I am today, at least in many ways. He kind of adopted me. Anyway, I remember sitting with him in his living room watching Waco, and he was pissed and devastated at the same time. He said, I cannot believe what that group has turned into. He was so pissed off. He was pissed off at Waco. He was pissed off at Ruby Ridge because he believed in First Amendment. He didn't believe anything that they became. The problem with government is when they have a group of people, all of a sudden they change. They become something they're not. And that's the problem we have. It really is. Josh Hawley. Yeah. Josh Hawley. You know, and I'm going to give him a break here because I wasn't happy with what he did at first. But I want to give him a break here because he put, and this is what people don't understand. He put his life in danger by doing what he did. And what's really pathetic is that's not the first. It happened in every election, last 8 elections or something like that, where Democrats came out and they challenged the electors' votes. Happens every year by Democrats. Did you hear the media mention that? Of course not. Josh gets out there and does it. Two things happened. He put his life and his family's life in danger, but it did rocket him out there. I mean, people are looking at him. Now, I'm not ready, and this is something else. I'm not ready for anybody to be president. I hope people understand. You know, when you elect somebody, when you want somebody to run, it's not because of what they say. It's because of what they've shown, what they've accomplished, and what they're doing. I mean, I love Candace Williams. Candace Owens. I think she would be great as a senator. You know, but I see people say, well, she'd be a great president. We don't know that. We don't know that. And I really don't have enough info about her except for what she says. And she is consistent. She is good. But that's not what I want. A president that comes up with these situations. I want a president with experience. That's what I want. I don't want just anybody. And the problem with the Republican Party, in fact, I'm going to go a step farther. In our county here, we got this woman, Mayor Liz Coleman. And we have so many voters, so many Trump voters, that will vote for this woman to be a state senator because she wants to rename part of Highway 55 after Trump. That is not the qualifications. If that's all the qualifications are, we're toast. And if Republicans, is there a Republican listening right now that would vote for her? Be honest. I promise not to trash you. I want to ask you why. Because our problem with government, especially conservatives, is that we don't have the very people we need in there, as you can see. You know, Dino, same thing. Dino in Pennsylvania. He's out of Pittsburgh. But he said, yeah, we got a Republican legislature. But they're Republican in name only. They're phonies. Just like we have Missouri and most other states. Because if my legislator was really pissed off, he'd be saying, none of them should be. You won't vote for who? Okay. Current military philosophy: never send a soldier where you can send artillery. And why send artillery when you can't? You know, I got to tell you something. As you know, Trump did everything he could to make sure our military was getting out of these countries. It was great. They're almost all out of the countries, you know, as far as like war. You get Joe Biden in. We're already into Syria, bombing Syria. I mean, that's what they do. And you know who wants that? And veteran, tell me if I'm right. You got a lot of warmongers who can't wait to show how tough they are. Overgrown. Never mind. But as generals, you've got a lot of political generals in there that I'm sure you would like to get rid of in a heartbeat. Would that be accurate? I'm asking veteran because he's been around. He knows the military better than most. You're right. Why send an airstrike? Why send people? And that was another reason I never understood a lot of that stuff. They sent them. You know why they send them a lot of times? A veteran, tell me if I'm right. They send them a lot of times because it helps the economy, they say. Yes, if you just have people and they're not doing anything. There's a lot of people not in the military that say, well, we're paying them. Send them over in harm's way. The game players, the ones that sit there and play the little games, that's really what it amounts to. That's what they do. I don't know what the problem is. We pay them to fight. They need to go over and fight. Well, we don't have anything going on. Well, then there's some people say, well, if they're getting paid for it, that's what they asked for, and that's it. And thank you. I knew you'd agree with that. This is what Trump had to deal with. In fact, Michael Flynn was not a popular general because there were all these other political generals. Michael Flynn is not a political general. If you notice, the people that they wanted to take out, they took out. If you don't think the deep state doesn't get this, you're wrong. The deep state knew. Take Michael Flynn out. He's genuine. Let's take him out. We'll nail him. We'll do it. They did everything they could. Government can take anyone listening to the show right now. All you tough people out there that act tough, they can take you down in no time flat. Hey, veteran, they can take you down, can't they? I mean, I did the story earlier. You got a gentleman who buys land, gets an RV, goes on, he's going to build there, and the government says, no, you can't be on your land. Every person listening to this show should be outraged. Outraged. I don't get it. Why are we allowing these people to rule us like this? I don't get it. They don't use airstrikes or artillery on U.S. soil. They use police tactics. They will lose much. The thing is they're not policemen. And actually, according to the Constitution, we really aren't supposed to be using our military unless dire necessity, I guess. I don't even know if that's there. Because the Constitution, they're supposed to defend our enemies overseas or whatever. That's what they are. And the problem is that we have turned so much of the military into something they are not. In fact, let's be honest here. Wait, where did I see lately? There was another story I want to look at anyway while I'm thinking about it. There was a BLM. I showed you was it not Nashville, Louisville. They just take over. They don't care. I like this. In Louisiana, Bill Cassidy voted to impeach President Trump. And there's a sign that somebody paid. It's got his picture that says censored. Object of shame when you vote to betray Louisiana. Paid for by the Electoral Accessibility. I can't read what that is. Everyone should be. By the way, this is something I found very, very interesting. The Capitol Police are increasing security based on intel warning of militia plot to breach the Capitol on March 4th. Now, I'm going to go into this from what I understand. I haven't said much about it, but since it's here, I'm going to talk about it. I am hearing from a few sources. No, don't get, you know what reason I don't even want to say this? Because then people all of a sudden say, all right, well, we don't have to do anything then. And if that's you, you aren't going to do anything anyway. So I'm going to say it anyway. So on March 4th, supposedly, I have two voices broadcasting. I have no idea what you're talking about. Do I really? You're the only one who hears that? I don't know. Somebody else hear that? I don't know how you see that. But on March 4th, supposedly, something big is supposed to happen and arrest a whole bunch of people. I mean, I got to be honest with you. It sounds wonderful. Oh, my God, it sounds wonderful. But there's supposed to be, I'm trying to be careful how I say this, some kind of big deal. Let's put it this way. Some big deal that's going to happen on March 4th. And there'll be a lot of people that are going to be arrested that should have been arrested a long time ago. The military can be used to put an insurrection down. Be aware. There's all kinds of things that supposedly are going to happen. I don't know. Number one, I'll bet you agree with this, veteran. I'll bet you got some generals that you'd like to see fired. There, it's like this is our problem in America right now. We have an FBI director, just like the previous one, who's a criminal. For me, not doing your job. Yeah, I thought so. But you have a lot of people out there. Maybe he's got two sources on. You have a lot of people out there who need to be arrested. And I'm going to go back to what I said, and I hope you understand it. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. You're right. That's where I am. And you know what? And the reason I haven't said much is I hope it happens. I really do hope it. It would be awesome. Because I am sick to death of the criminals running our country. You remember how we grew up? For you people a little bit older, remember when we grew up and we heard about how so many countries are so criminal? And I used to joke about it and say, yes, we're the country with the white hats. Well, when President Kennedy, who was not a real Democrat, well, Democrat at that time, today he would be a hardline conservative with how he was. But President Kennedy was taken out. And he wasn't taken out by Lee Harvey Oswald. Regardless of what anybody tells me, I didn't buy that back then. What is it with good common sense? We don't have it anymore? Is there anybody watching this show right now who thinks I'm full of garbage? That they actually do believe that Lee Harvey Oswald killed President Kennedy on his own? I've never believed that. I'm never going to believe it. And I don't care what it's just not true. And that's when we start learning about the CIA. And I don't know who did it. To be honest with you, I always thought there was a connection. Now, this is me. From what I understand, there was a connection between the mafia, which was huge back then, and the CIA. That's what I thought. I don't know. But the point is that we have government who want to take out anybody. You've seen it over and over. They tried to do it to President Trump. They're trying to take out anybody who gets in their way. All active duty military personnel currently include 38 generals, 141 lieutenant generals, 310 major generals, and 420 brigadier generals. How many of those generals do you think should be arrested? I got to ask the military guy that. Wouldn't it be some need to go? Well, you know what? That's just it. Why do we have so many? If you notice, government always adds from the military on down to school boards. You have schools here. You've got, I don't know how many schools we have in Fox. And there's principals and there's vice principals. There's more vice principals and more vice principals. And there's a program director. And you can go on and on. All these people. You have the assistant vice. You've got all these different things. Why do they all need to be there? And in Fox School District, and one of the things that I want to tell people happens, because most people don't know what goes on, the superintendents pretty much get carte blanche. And superintendents are not business people in most cases. Superintendents are ex-teachers that kiss the asses of somebody to get up to where they are so they can be a superintendent. They used to be a teacher. I'm not saying all of them are bad, but most of them are political whores. That's just what they are. They're political whores of the NEA. The NEA makes sure they get there. They make sure they take care of each other. I mean, it really gets bad. It really does. See, my friend knows his stuff. The maximum number of general officers on active duty are set by the U.S. Code 526. The caps are 231 personnel in the Army, 162 in the Navy, 198 in the Air Force, and 61 in the Marine Corps. You know, the reason we have issues is in government itself, and these would you agree with me on this, Ronnie, that there's a number of these people that are nothing more, well, you did already, that are political whores, and that goes in every organization. This is why we can't look at other countries and call them corrupt. You know, we're calling Ukraine corrupt. Remember that? We're calling the Ukraine corrupt. So they have a prosecutor that wants to go after Joe Biden's son for the right reasons, and Joe Biden goes over and says, hey, we're not gonna give you this funding, the same thing they accused Trump of saying, unless you fire this guy. Quid pro quo. And that's what they did. And we're over there talking about Ukraine government being so corrupt. Are you people really sitting there going, yes, the United States are wonderful. We were white hats. Look, in 1953, in a country called Iran, I want you to understand this. A country called Iran, one that is full of real hell right now. There's two countries. I think the Great Britain was the main one, and the United States joined in. And they actually did everything they could to overturn a democratic election, not republic, democratic election in Iran. And they made sure they installed the Shah of Iran in there because they wanted the oil. Now, I can understand where there was a lot of Iranian people pissed off beyond belief. And when I learned more about the history, I did understand more because they had a Shah of Iran, all that stuff, and when we had our hostages back in the Carter days. You may not like it. We didn't like having these people as hostages. But you know something? When you go in and you take over this country so you can get the oil, that's exactly what happened. You people familiar with this story? That's what happened. And we go in there and we take over their election. And we make sure the Shah of Iran is in there and we're done. That's a problem. What are we doing in their elections? But we are white. We have the white hats. That's what we're taught in America. We have the white hats, what we used to. Now, we're taught we have the white people have black hats. How's that? No, not black hats. That'd be racist. Whatever it is, the racist hats. And I knew, see, and veteran, you know what? If Trump makes it to office, I hope he invites you and I to be there to help him. I actually had a call from, like I said earlier, a state representative that talked to me, and I nailed him. I nailed him a few months ago when I saw him. I nailed him. And he was pissed off at me. But you know what he said? And this is not the first person to do this. He said, Dave, you know something? He goes, you're one of the only people I know that will tell me what I don't want to hear. And this is what happens in political office all the time. Oh, the people, you know. But I had guts enough. I didn't go in there and say, oh, I think you're wonderful, and that's it. Can I please kiss your feet? I told him how I felt, and I was pissed off about it. And I let him know, and he was mad. He wouldn't talk to me for a while. Well, I got the call. And I'm not going to say much more about the call. I'm not going to say who it was or anything like that because I do keep this in confidence. But then he said, if I ever go anywhere in this state, if I ever go anywhere in this state, he goes, I want you to be part of it. That's not the first person I heard it from. He said, because at least I know you keep me grounded. And I laughed and I said, I kind of keep everybody grounded. I think a lot of people don't like to be grounded, though. They don't. And we got a state rep a few state reps in our county that don't like me because I want to keep them grounded. I don't think I don't know what these people think. They think they get elected and they're special. You know what I think of when I think of special? Special school district. That's what I think of when I think of special. Nothing against the kids that have issues. But I think of it that way because I think of these people as people that they just make themselves out to be bigger than they are. And that's what happens. But we did it. Oh my God, thank you. You know, it's like, okay, and I'll give you for instance here. And I've already talked about Mayor Elizabeth Coleman wants to rename Highway 55. And there's people going, oh, wow, that's why I love you, because you're doing what the people want. And you're finding out that they're doing what's going to fool you. Yeah, we're for fair elections only when they vote for the people we want in foreign countries. That's exactly right. Short bus. My wife fragility is showing. Yes. You know, and it's really funny because when I talked to Dino grew up in a city like I did. Dino's the gentleman I had on earlier. And Dino grew up in a city. I grew up in a city. I was around black people. I had black people living downstairs. We were upstairs. Figure that out. I'm a white racist, and we were living upstairs while the black people lived downstairs. You know what? I knew they were black. That's all I knew. I didn't care. I was friends with the kids. We used to hang out. Not much. You know, back then we didn't hang out much, but we respected each other. That's it. I really never thought of the N-word with them. The thugs are the ones I call the N-word. Yeah. And guess what? So did they. That's what's really amazing. When I was a cop, I'll never forget this as long as I live. When I was a cop, I was in North St. Louis, which is a predominantly black area, like 95%. And I'll never forget this. And if you don't like this, then too bad. I'm just telling you what I was told by the very black people we were there to defend from the thugs. You got that? We were there to defend them from the thugs. And the thugs in those areas were black. And those good people that I liked a lot, and they were black people, are the ones that looked at me and said, get these niggers out of here. That's exactly what they told me. They said, put all of them in jail because we don't want them here. It reminds me of what we do in our own neighborhoods. If I have a meth house down the street or whatever, I want them in jail. If I see a pedophile that attacks a little girl, whatever, boy, whatever, it doesn't make a difference. I just don't want them in jail. I want them dead. I do. There's no fixing those people. There isn't. I'm talking about a real pedophile. Like Joe Biden. There you go. Oh, there goes my show. But that's my point. I want those people that are thugs and rats, whatever you want to call them. I want them all shipped off to an island. You know, like Escape from New York. I wouldn't do it. You know, let's find an island. Let's get, I'll tell you an island. Here's one for you. How about Epstein's Island? Here you go. Let's take over Epstein's Island. And we'll take all the pedophiles, all the criminals, the really bad criminals, and let's put them over there and let them fend for themselves. And guess what? We will do exactly what the left says. We will not have police there. How about that? You're right. We cannot let BLM and Antifa, we cannot let them exist. You know what? The one thing I forgot to ask Dino. In fact, I'm going to ask the audience right now, what do you think of this? I believe in my heart that they are people that will stop at nothing. They'll stop at nothing. I mean, when I say stop it, they will kill. They would do anything and everything they can to take over. Make no mistake about it. And we have a military guy here. It's great to take prisoners, but there's some people that don't deserve to be here. They really are. There's certain people, they're animals, and we all know that. That's why we want them executed. They're animals, and I would ask my military friend here if he would agree with that. That we can't play games with these. We can't play Mr. Nice with these people. We can't. If you notice, have you ever noticed it, ladies and gentlemen, the people that always want you to play nice with criminals are the criminals? Let me see. In the old days, this is the old days and this is today. In the old days, if it was found out that, I don't want to use someone's name, somebody may think of, Joe Smith, let's use that. There's a million of them. Joe Smith has been molesting his daughters for the last 5 years. Well, the old days, if they would have arrested him, he would have gotten some education on the way to jail. I'll leave it at that. Now, you may not like that. Well, he wasn't accused. They know. They know. I mean, when you get somewhere, you know. You can tell. And you may not like that, but that's what they used to do. In fact, this is a story. I gotta get my friend Gary Wiegert on. He's an ex-cop, and he used to do a radio show. Gary, if you're listening, come on someday. But Gary got a call. He was doing a radio show, and it was a black gentleman that called him. And the black gentleman said, you know, I got to tell you something. He goes, Gary, we got to do something with these ends, with these niggas. That's what he said. And Gary said, well, not on my show. He says, no, let me explain why I say this. He goes, I was in one of those back when I was a dumbass. I was late teens, early 20s. He goes, every weekend I would do stupid things. You guys would, not him. He said, police would pick me up. They give me a few knocks on the head. He goes, I deserved every single one of them. Take care, Elizabeth. I deserved every single one of them. And he goes, and one time after this happened, I sat in jail and I said, where the hell am I going? He said, that turned my life around. He said, I'm thankful they didn't play Mr. Nice Guy with me. This is what he was saying. He goes, I'm thankful they did. I'm glad they did what they did. He goes, I wasn't thankful when it happened because you know something? I probably would have never changed until that one day when I said, I can't do this anymore. And he changed his life. So he lives in the hood. He watches these kids that do exactly what he did. And he said, and I see the police officers have to be so nice to him in the whole thing. He said, what they need is what they gave me. I'm telling you what he told him on his show. He goes, they're disrespectful to me. I tell them what I did, and I go, hey, F you, man. I don't need your crap. You're just an old man. Somebody needs you. That's what they do. And he was one of them. And he just looked and he said, we got to do something with them. He said, these mamas aren't taking care of their kids. And a lot of us know that. Now, if I say that, that means I'm a racist. By the way, that's black and white. But majority, percentage-wise, and this is where a lot of us go, because, look, I can tell you right now, I got relatives that don't take care of their kids. Not really. Oh, they'll have them and they may feed them to some extent, but they turn them into welfare addicts or whatever, drug addicts. They just like they are. That's what they do. And thank you so much. That was nice, Elizabeth. She's a sweetheart. But anyway, that's where we are. So if we don't change what's going on here, I'm dead serious. We are never, ever going to change. So back to my question to you, Ronnie. Do you believe that we need to play a little more hardball with Antifa and BLM? First off, here's part of our, this is why when we've been sitting out, this is what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We have, in the city of St. Louis, we have a prosecutor named Kim Gardner, who actually, as far as I'm concerned, works for the criminals. She does. She's the district attorney. She's supposed to be prosecuting them, and she lets them go. She doesn't work for the police because there's actually a lot of police out there that she won't even take their case. She's got a list of people there. She goes, if that's come from this cop, forget it. So if you're a victim, if you live in a black area and you're a victim, and a cop arrests the guy that's causing havoc with somebody, and she gets it, she goes, I don't want it. So you know what they do now? Let him go. Right now, because she's not doing her job. And where is our governor? Where, let's go further. Where is our attorney general? I am not a fan of Parson, and I'm not a fan of Eric Schmidt. Eric Schmidt's not doing anything. You know what Eric Schmidt wants? And look, I know Eric. I know him well. There's a lot of people I know well, but guess what? Eric Schmidt is playing the game. He's playing the ladder game. He wants to be the next governor. Make no mistake about it. He wants to be the next governor. So in the next election, I'm running for governor, and people say, well, he was attorney general, and he will show you all the things he did, and he won't tell you the things he didn't do. And you're going to go, wow, Eric Schmidt's my guy. He is there. You know what, though? You're right. Okay, you answered my question. Yes, you need to do something, but it will escalate. You're right. And that is part. Look, I wasn't military, but I grew up in a war zone. It's going to escalate until they take them out. It is. It's going to escalate. And when you take them out, you do what it takes. You let these people know this is what we're going to do, and that's it. And you are hard as ever. The First Amendment is wonderful. Isn't it wonderful? Here we go. Isn't it wonderful that we have all these people on the left that talk about the First Amendment? We have a right to protest. We have to take over the streets. We have a right to do all that stuff. That is the First Amendment to them. When, I'm in Facebook jail because I call what they are disgusting pig, and I'm in Facebook jail over it. They're going after good people because they, come on. And this is on all levels. They go after Michael Flynn. They go after good people. But the left wants a First Amendment. And do you know how pissed off the left is now that they? I don't know if the law's been signed. I know it's gone through everything. That they can't be blocking streets. They can't be blocking highways. I didn't know they could to begin with. But they had to pass a law, and they also, I think they passed it, you run them over, and the left just go, well, that's bull. My First Amendment right says this, but you know what? They want to take your First Amendment right. See, the left only, this is where people got to get it. The left only wants their side to have the First Amendment and their interpretation of it. That's what they want. They don't want anything else. They don't want you to have First Amendment. When we've done ours, we have been very cordial. We do everything we're supposed to do. Well, you're right about that. Should be focused on the foot soldier, much of the leadership. Because when you take it, I'll give you one who should be in jail. Well, there's a lot of them. George Soros should be in jail. I can't wait till the SOB dies. That is one of the most evil people on the planet. Isn't it amazing? He is there to cause havoc. He is there to take down cities and the rest of it. That's what he's there for. He's a very evil guy. And the left loves him. Was Rush Limbaugh ever there to do that? Rush Limbaugh talked about positive things. Like I said, he made a few mistakes. He'd be the first one to admit it. Not anymore. He made mistakes. But I do believe he said he was just a, I said it the other day and now I can't remember what he said. How he was a fuzzball. He was nothing. That's it. And when you hear him say that, a lot of people on the left are like, they were glad he died and the rest of it. And that's, by the way, why I'm in Facebook jail, because I called one of the people that started giving these pathetic remarks. They didn't put them in Facebook jail. They put me in jail. Yeah, it's okay for the left to have First Amendment. And this, now, here, let's talk about our state real quick here. Most of you people are from Missouri. Where is our legislature? Where is our governor, like DeSantis is doing? Where is our attorney general coming down on big tech? Where are they? Dead serious. Where are they? Everybody watching this show right now needs to call their state legislator and say, you need to propose legislation to take down big tech. That when they start doing this stuff, that you do whatever it takes. There are other countries that have done it. There are other states that are doing it. We need to do it here. We just do. All right, my friends. I guess we're done for the week. I guess I've done enough damage. I got 2 more weeks of Facebook jail to go through, and then everything will be back to normal. I'm definitely thinking about coming up with another identity. I have one that I don't tell people about too, but Facebook knows about that. But I'm thinking about coming up with an identity on purpose so I can exchange my thoughts on Facebook. And I want to see what I can do. I am on Parler and Gab and MeWe. Other people tell me there's just so many platforms, it's hard to keep up. It really is. But I see a lot of people are getting used to the other platforms. And actually, I've heard a lot of people say they like the platform, the D-Light platform. And I appreciate that. And by the way, my friend Nikki, I don't know what happened to her. Poor Nikki, she had a really good job. And it breaks my heart how many people have absolutely lost their jobs and their businesses over the government intrusion that Christy Noem talked about. And I hope people do watch the rest of them. I would post it on my Facebook, but I can't do that right now. So maybe what I should do, maybe I'll do that. On Super Dave, by the way, everybody should visit realrepublicans.net. And of course, my website is superdaveshow.com. And I am doing my best to make more. And by the way, I did do this. If somebody has missed the shows, you say check them out. You can go to superdaveshow.com, and there actually is a button there that you can press, and it goes to the YouTube, and it's got videos. And if you notice, I rename my titles there because I want them to say what day it is. So. If you go on superdaveshow.com, it'll be there. I've got people say, let me check it out. And they check it out and go, oh yeah, I like that guy. So, that's one way of doing that. So, all right, everybody, I appreciate you guys that listened. It's break time. I got to go forward. I got a lot of things to do, and let's make things happen. Get your friends and family. By the way, the next Real Republicans is on, I think, March 27th, which is a Saturday, 1 o'clock. And if you are someone that has a group and you'd like me to come and speak, if I can do it, I will gladly do it. So let me know. All right. Oh, I didn't know you were there, Jim. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate you guys more than you know. And I will see you on Monday.
You can't quit. And why not? I got fired. You can't fire him. Why not? He quit.
Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Spaghetti's rolling.
Ain't over now. 'Cause when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Who's with me? Let's go! Come on!
Thanks. I needed that.